I want to start this differently. Without hype, without shouting motivation, without pretending, life suddenly became easy. My life didn't change because I woke up one day inspired. It changed slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, through habits that didn't look powerful at first. And if you're a student listening to this, especially one who feels behind, confused, distracted, or tired of trying and failing, I want you to stay with me. Because this is not about becoming extraordinary overnight. It's about becoming stable enough to build something real. There was a time when my days blended together. I woke up late, rushed through responsibilities, studied with half attention, scrolled endlessly, and went to sleep feeling guilty for another wasted day. I wasn't lazy, but I wasn't disciplined either. I cared deeply about my future, yet my actions didn't reflect that care. The worst part wasn't failure. It was knowing I had potential and watching myself slowly betray it. That internal disappointment is something many students live with quietly. Everything began to change when I stopped chasing motivation and started changing what I did every day, especially on days when I felt nothing. The first habit that shifted my life was how I treated the beginning of my day. I realized that the first moments after waking up decide the tone of everything that follows. When I reached for my phone immediately, my mind became noisy before it became focused. Other people's lives, opinions, expectations, and problems entered my head before my own thoughts had a chance to form. So, I made a simple rule. I would not touch my phone for the first part of my morning. Instead, I sat in silence. No music, no scrolling. Just breathing and awareness. At first, it felt uncomfortable, even boring. But slowly, I noticed something powerful. My mind became calmer. I stopped rushing internally. I started asking myself simple questions, like what actually needs my attention today? Not what feels urgent, but what matters. This habit taught me that control doesn't come from doing more. It comes from starting intentionally. As a student, your mind is your greatest asset. Yet most people hand it over to distractions before the day even begins. When you reclaim your morning, even in a small way, you send a message to yourself that your future deserves your attention first. The second habit that changed everything was how I approached studying. I used to study emotionally. When I felt pressure, I studied. When exams were near, I studied. When motivation disappeared, so did my discipline. That cycle kept me anxious and inconsistent. Then I decided to remove emotion from the equation. I committed to studying every single day, even when I didn't feel like it, even when it was boring, even when progress felt invisible. Some days it was 1 hour, some days less. But the rule was simple. I show up, no matter what. What I learned from this habit was life-changing. Consistency creates confidence. Not intelligence, not talent, not last-minute effort. When you show up daily, your brain starts trusting you. You stop fearing exams because preparation is no longer a panic response. It's a routine. Students fail not because they lack ability, but because they wait to feel ready. Discipline removes that waiting. The third habit that transformed me was writing. Not for school, not for grades, but for clarity. Every day I wrote honestly about what I was experiencing, my distractions, my fears, my excuses, my progress. Writing forced me to confront myself without judgment. It showed me patterns I couldn't see while living on autopilot. I discovered that procrastination wasn't laziness, it was fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of starting, and realizing I wasn't as capable as I hoped. When you write, you stop lying to yourself. And once the lies disappear, improvement becomes possible. Most students feel lost because they never slow down long enough to understand what's actually happening inside them. Writing gave me that understanding, and understanding gave me control. The fourth habit was the hardest and the most powerful. I made it a rule to do one uncomfortable thing every day. Just one. Something I was avoiding. A difficult chapter, a delayed assignment, a conversation I kept postponing. I realized that my confidence wasn't low because I was weak. It was low because I kept breaking promises to myself. Every avoided task weakened myself. Every completed difficult task rebuilt it. Confidence is not built by positive thinking. It's built by evidence. Evidence that you can face discomfort and survive it. Students often think successful people are fearless. They're not. They've just practiced doing hard things so often that fear no longer controls them. This habit changed how I saw myself. I stopped identifying as someone who avoids difficulty and started becoming someone who faces it slowly, imperfectly, but consistently. The fifth habit was protecting my environment. I stopped pretending I was strong enough to resist everything. I changed what surrounded me instead. I reduced noise. I organized my space. I limited exposure to content that drained me. I distanced myself from people who normalized wasting time and complaining without action. This wasn't arrogance, it was survival. Your environment is either helping you grow or silently holding you back. Most students underestimate this. Focus is not a personality trait. It's a result of design. When your surroundings support discipline, discipline becomes natural. When your surroundings promote distraction, motivation alone will never save you. Over time, these habits didn't just improve my grades or productivity, they changed my identity. I stopped seeing myself as someone trying to succeed and became someone who shows up daily. That shift is everything. Success doesn't come from dramatic moments. It comes from boring days handled correctly. I want you to understand something deeply. You don't need to transform your entire life today. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to feel confident before you start. You only need to begin acting like your future matters, even when your emotions argue otherwise. Small habits, repeated daily, will take you further than motivation ever will. If you're a student feeling behind, remember this. You are not late. You are early in the process of learning discipline. If you feel tired, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been living without structure. Structure doesn't restrict freedom, it creates it. Years from now, you won't remember the motivational videos you watched. You'll remember the quiet habits you built when no one was watching. Those habits will decide the life you live. Start small. Stay consistent. Let time do the rest.